Hey, today's Tuesday, July the 1st.
I'm Bruce Turner in Lynchburg, Virginia.
I'm Jeff Zayas in Napa, California.
Hey, I'm Duke Carico. On this edition of Tech and Coffee's Android Journal, hey, we're going to recap Google I.O. And good news, fans continue to expect Nexus Branding. Hey, a Google smartwatch for less than $100. All this more and app picks. Good evening, gang.
How's it going?
Hola.
All right, man. I'm telling you.
Should we?
Hey, guys, I've got 8 more hours and I start vacation. I'm so fired up.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Where are you going? Are you going someplace special?
Yes. I'm going away from my job.
He's going to visit the Mouse House, among other things.
Yeah, I'm down to Orlando. Actually, my wife's going to a seminar down there and taking my little granddaughter with me, and going to be a good time, man. Yeah, actually, I've got some plans to go visit Yvonne R., a Tech and Coffee regular. Going to head up there and visit her one day. So, yeah, man, that's I think it's going to be a very good time.
Okay, make sure you bring your do-rag or plenty of SP40 for your head there, Duke, because it gets pretty hot down there.
Listen, those do-rags are like American Express cards. I never leave the house without them.
There you go.
Yeah, that and your thongs.
Hey, well, you guys act like thongs a special thing, man. It's something I do, okay? Yeah, man. Hey, before we get started, a shout-out, speaking of Tech and Coffee regulars, Hey, Guy Cook, heard you're a little down, man, so just let it be known. I said a couple of prayers for you today, and we're going to be praying for you going forward there, Guy. Hope everything's going good with you.
Absolutely.
Amen to that. He'll be missed if he's not in the Hangouts next couple days. So.
Absolutely. All right, guys, here's what we're going to do.
But I think it's a good time to hack into all his sites.
Get into his buffer account and tweet out to all of those sites. Something that shouldn't be tweeted. All right, hey guys, listen. Last week we talked quite a bit about I/O. It was Tuesday night. We got to the, there was a lot of rumor, there was a lot of anticipation, and then the keynote went live, and we got to hear it. And first of all, before we talk about specifics, I asked you guys what was going to be the tone of this thing. What was going to be the mood? Would they be jumping out of Zeppelins wearing glass and jumping from building to building? And I think we all agreed that it was going to be subdued. But I guess, Bruce, were you surprised that there was no real hardware news?
Yeah, I was surprised. I know it's a developers conference, and I know there's a little bit of one-upsmanship, I think, that goes. You got Samsung with putting on a Broadway show in New York City, and you got the other history, like you mentioned, when they introduced glass and so forth and so on. But this was really a nerdy I/O. I mean, it was purely developers, going down on the bowels of the ship, looking at the new Android L and some of the other stuff like that. It was definitely appealing to the developers, and the new programs, new APIs, and things like that. So this definitely wasn't a real consumer-oriented show. So not a lot of pizzazz, but some good stuff nonetheless.
Okay, Jeff. I guess, and we'll get into more specifics, but name one thing that you were the most impressed with out of all the announcements coming out of the keynote.
Out of all the announcements, what's most impressed with? Actually, I thought Android L. I thought the release of the new operating system with the material design, I thought that was pretty nice. And I think Bruce hit it on the head. It was more developers. It was definitely, hey, we're going to give you this tool set. We're going to give you these things to work with. This is the new direction of Google. And I think we were also right that we didn't see hardly anything about Google Plus. There was absolutely nothing going on with that. It was really more about, these are activations, these are a number of Android stuff, and then they went into the developer stuff, and they just stayed in there. They stayed in that, and it was interesting the way the show started out. They had that Rube Goldberg kind of clock ticking, and every time it got to a minute, the bowling ball would move down a little bit farther, and they kind of had the transitions through the the screen. So they had some kind of interesting thing to keep your attention going. But they did start late, though. I think they were like maybe 5 or 10 minutes late. They didn't start on the dime, that's for sure.
Yeah, that clock was very steampunk, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah, very much so.
So you mentioned Ale. When it leaked that we were going to get to see the Ale version, most people assumed that we were going to get to learn what the L stood for. And
exactly.
That didn't happen. It was referred to as Ale. So just for fun, Jeff, what do you think Ale stands for?
Love, baby.
All right.
Free love.
Bruce, what's that Ale going to be?
Lemon pound cake.
All right, there is some indications that it is going to be called lemon cake. I think it's going to be called Lindsay Lohan. I don't know. I just got a feeling.
I think they're just going to leave it L.
They very could.
Because when they did all the material, all the enhancements, right? They made it in a giant L logo. So they might just go, we're done with the Kit Kat, we're done with the the food stuff. Let's just make it L. I think that would be better, actually.
All right, hey, let's throw out some numbers. According to Sundar Pichai, I'm sorry, Sundar, I butcher your name every time. Hey, he started the keynote talking about right now there's 1 billion active users on Android. There's 20 billion text and 93 million selfies taken each day. Now, 20 billion text might sound like a lot, but I think Snapchat was hitting like 27 billion per day. So, but yeah, man, it sounds like that Android is alive and well. Jeff, you mentioned material design, and if someone hasn't seen this, and surely if you've been on the net, you've seen it, but it is a flat-looking design, but it's given, even though it's flat-looking, it's got some shadows about it to give it like a depth of field. Very attractive, and this material design is, supposed to transfer into Chrome, Google Watches, Android TV, etc. Google, the Auto initiative.
Yeah.
So but that was a big part of it. We've also talked about Android Ale. This Android Ale is going to be showing up everywhere, and I think that's one thing we can all agree upon. Android's poised to take over the world. I mean, we're talking in our cars, on our TVs, on our phones and tablets, and our computers with Chrome. And one of the things that really caught my attention, guys, in the announcement was Google Chrome, that was their first keynote. When was that? Back in 2007 or 2008? I can't recall, one or the other. But at that first developer conference, they unveiled something called Chrome. Okay, it was the Chrome browser. And a big announcement for Chrome is that certain Android apps are going to run within it. Bruce, what do you think of that, man?
Well, I think that's great. Google actually has a site up where you can go and send to them what apps you would like to see being able to be used on Chrome, and so they're gathering that data. They're asking user input. For me, it would be Skype, Zoom, and Link 2013. Those are all video conferencing, communication type things that I can do. I can do Skype on my Chromebook only because I've got Linux running on the side, but I would like to be able to have those types of communication apps. I'm not so much interested in playing Android games on my Chromebook. I know that there are some people who are populating the list that way, but I think productivity apps like that would be an excellent thing. I'd really look forward to seeing this.
Just out of curiosity, Bruce, you've installed Linux on your Chromebook. Jeff, you have, right?
Yeah, but I took it off after a while.
Okay, and I've installed Linux, and And Bruce, just let me ask you point blank, why did you install Linux on your Chromebook?
I installed Linux on the Chromebook because I wanted to be able to use programs like Skype. I wanted to be able to use Audacity because I do record podcasts. Audacity gives me a really good option to record audio. I can use my mixer and my mics with that. But the other thing was having LibreOffice on there. Now, I know I've got Google Apps and so forth, but when I'm away from the from a Wi-Fi experience, and let's say I've got to work on my team's schedule, so I've got spreadsheets, individual spreadsheets they send me by email. I've got the master spreadsheet. I can do all that on the Linux side very easily. So that's the main reasons that I did it.
So what I'm hearing you say is you installed Linux on your Chromebook for the productivity functionality, right?
Correct. Right.
For the standalone laptop productivity.
Right.
Kind of deal. Yeah.
The I don't have to be connected.
Yeah.
And if that sort of ability was available in Chrome.
Yeah. The other reason I did it, and this is a real important reason, when we use Microsoft Exchange, and when you go to our our mail.blank.org/OWA, that's the Outlook web app. In the Chrome browser on the Chromebook, I can only use the light version of that, and I need to use the full version of that to have access to all the folders that I've created. So I installed Firefox on the Linux side, which enables me to do that as well. So
but you also went from a ARM-based processor to a
Right. I have the same one you do, the Acer C720 with the Haswell processor. I'll tell you the other thing that's really great that they rolled out, talking about the Chrome thing, and I'll just make a slight mention of this, is they've finally beginning to make movement on getting rid of the Google Talk plugin, which you could not do a Hangout without downloading and installing the plugin, but now the new WebRTC ability to do that is, and I'm using it right now and enjoying it greatly. It's a lot less resource hungry than the Google Talk plugin.
Very good, very good. All right, hey, listen, just real quick about Android L, and then we're going to move on. As I mentioned, we're going to see Android L in our phones, our cars, our tablets, our TVs. It's going to be better multitasking. It's going to be better at search, if you can believe that. It's going to be better at saving the battery life, and it's also going to include a remote wipe function, to where you can, if your phone gets stolen, you can easily lock that thing or wipe it. There's stuff that's out there doing it now. In fact, Google actually offers this now. But this is going to be a new kill switch. It sounds pretty promising. All right, man. This is what we all expected, the Android Wear. We got to see the LG. We learned that Samsung is bringing even another watch that's Android Wear certified, I guess, instead of something that Samsung's done with their own Tizen or Android itself. So I guess, Jeff, I'm going to ask you, now that we've seen the watches, what do you think, man?
Well, I think price point, they're still a little bit high for me, and I'm not too sure about the battery life. So again, they're saying that you can, run at least a day on the battery on the watches. They looked pretty cool. I think the Moto X, the Moto 360 is going to be the biggest seller, because it has that look of a fashionable watch. What I did like about the Samsung Galaxy Wear watch, it had a heart rate monitor on it, where the LG does not. So, but other than that, they looked okay, and I'm holding out. I'm still waiting to see what the next generation kind of looks like and get some more feedback from people about what it should be, on the watch. But, is it promising? I think it is promising. And I think they have to do it. And it's going to be a hit. It'll be a hit like everything else, All
right. Let me ask you this. First of all, you said it was too much. What are you willing to pay for a watch that you don't need yet?
Well, we're going to talk about that at the Asus, watch that's coming up.
Yeah, well,
So,
let's go ahead and jump in there. Let's go ahead and jump in there. How much are you willing to pay? We'll talk about that.
I'm thinking, in the $100 to $150 range would be more of a kind of an experiment, just like everything else is for me. That's kind of like a disposable income. I am not a watch guy, right? So that's kind of like part of the deal. But if I had the ability to, look at some of the apps, like when I'm cycling, like my tracks, and I could feed back the information to my watch and look at certain things, that'd be very cool for me. So I like that. I like the iFit thing. So when the applications get more towards the biking and running and some other things, I think that'd be, because I'm going to have a hard time because I don't wear glasses. I wear reading glasses, right? So, and I don't wear them when I'm out, only on shows like this and things like that. So it'll be a little bit harder for me to read it. I'd be like holding it out like that, unless it's the display is nice. But I think that $100 to $150 range, I would be interested in trying it out.
Hey, Bert, same question to you, man.
Yeah, I would agree. I was just sitting here thinking, when I'm on the plane flying, I have to put my Note 2 in airplane mode. I guess you're going to have to put these watches in airplane mode too, right? Because there's some connectivity with your phone or whatever. But no, I think the $99 to $149 is the sweet spot to really get these off the ground, and that's what they really need to do, because watches are just not as popular anymore. As Jeff pointed out, I'm not wearing a watch. I've not worn a watch for 3 years, and I get along just fine with getting the time from my phone. But some of these extra features they're talking about would make me consider it, but only at that $99 to $149 price point.
Okay, fair enough. I'll tell you what, I think that $100, $150, I would be in it. And by the way, for anyone that doesn't know, there's a pretty strong rumor out there that Asus is going to bring a smartwatch in September to market that's going to be priced between $99 and $149. And, this is compared to right now the prices that we're seeing for these, the current crop of smartwatches is $200 to $230. So this would be considerably cheaper. And, we don't know if it's going to be, cheaper made or a lesser of a watch. We'll just have to wait and see. But even if it is lesser of a watch, I think at that price point, there's a whole lot of people that will be willing to say, I think I'll see what this smartwatch thing's all about.
Yeah, and another thing is you have to have, it's not available over all versions of Android, right? You have to have 4.2 something for the Android Wear?
Yes, it is.
Right,
actually,
so
there's a site that's out there that will let you know basically you poke in your phone make and model, and it comes back and tells you what smartwatches are compatible with your device.
Yeah, and right now the Samsung watch is only compatible with Samsung phones. The LG will work cross-platform, and I would imagine the Asus would as well.
I keep hearing that, Bruce. Honestly, can you prove that? Because I've heard it both ways. I've heard that the phone that they announced is compatible with Android 4.2 and up.
I'm just going by what Leo says.
I don't think that's right. I'll tell you what's the truth. Let's Google that real quick.
Well, let's just all you have to do is go to devices on the Play Store, and if the watch is there, right? And the Samsung Gear Live.
All right, I'm going to devices here. I'm going to share my screen. Oops, wrong button. And here's Android Wear and Samsung Gear Live. I am looking here.
It's compatible with all phones running Android 4.3 Jelly Bean or higher.
Okay, there you go. There you go. Yes, I was thinking now, yes, the other two Samsung watches are geared to Samsung phones, but this one that was announced at Google I/O is compatible with Jelly Bean and Up.
Hmm.
All right. Very good. All right, man. Let's but yeah, the Asus, I think that's at a price point that will really disrupt. I mean, it's gonna create even more buzz around this Android Wear. And guys, hitting in September is right around the time that Apple is expected to announce their phone too. So this fall is going to be a lot of fun, man.
Yep.
Well,
All
it's a
right.
battle of the Titans, right?
Yes, absolutely. All right. Hey, listen. One more thing, and then we're going to leave Google I/O. Google's going to
Well,
try it again, guys, with Android TV. What do you think?
well,
Is
you
this
know,
is this the is this what everybody's been missing, or are people going to look at this and say, "Hey, man, that's no better than my Roku"?
yeah, until it becomes an app that you can run off any Nexus, that you don't have to get a set top, I'm not going to be interested in. I don't want anything else that I can't, that I have to connect to my TV set. I already have a Chromecast. Why can't I just use an app on my Nexus or tablet and have Android TV cast to it?
Yeah, well, Android TV is
I-
actually going to have a Chromecast built into it. It'll be part of the internal workings of it. But a lot of this has to do with software and an API that they're going to try to get television manufacturers to install inside the TV itself, so that you won't have to have a set-top box. But good luck trying to get them to do that.
Well,
I think they announced that a lot of.
let's
Go
say
ahead, I'm sorry.
let's say that they're successful in doing that, Bruce. All right. And all your major manufacturers out there, your Samsungs, your Sonys, your LGs, they all get on the bandwagon and they do that. I read not too long ago that the average person replaces their television set every 7 years. Okay, on average, that's when we replace. And these things, they're already pretty expensive. Okay. So even if Google succeeds to do that, I don't see it taking off for 10 years. It's going to take 10 years just to get Android TV, and that's if all these manufacturers buy in.
True. Yeah, that's why I'll be happy with my Roku and my Chromecast.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, man.
One thing we didn't talk about is the Android One.
Yes,
That's going to be a significant thing.
All right. I think that for the dreamer in me, Android One was probably the biggest announcement that they made at I/O. They're going to take this. They're going to take a cheap-made phone with an FM radio and produce a device for third world countries for less than $100. Now, I think that I'm assuming, I don't know this, but I am assuming that this is going to be largely the Google Now interface driven. Okay, something like the smartwatch interface, but better. I think this is awesome, and if you think of third world countries, supposedly Mozilla said they're going to bring a smartphone to market for $25. And to be honest with you, I hope both Mozilla and Google are able to accomplish what they're setting out to do. It's going to be great. It's going to be great to better connect. A lot of these countries that, honestly, $100 might be a third of a year's salary to a lot of these to a lot of people in a lot of these countries.
But Google has been very long viewed. Let me put it that way. They're willing to take a risk. They came out with the Android and they just kind of pushed it forward, and they had a long view on it, and they have a long view on the open emerging markets as well. So I think they're going to have a nice little and it's going to be released in India first, right? So
Right.
It's amazing.
All right. One more thing. What about that? What about Google Cardboard, man?
That was very interesting. I really enjoyed watching Leo play with his on Twit this last Sunday, and basically suggesting, and I believe it's probably true. And by the way, there's websites now where you can buy a kit to build this yourself for I think $20. That this is a real dig at Facebook's multi-billion-dollar purchase of Oculus Rift. Considering, and Leo's used Oculus Rift, and he said, listen, this basically does just whatever Oculus Rift does. And I also agree with him that we're going to see somebody come out with a less expensive, plastic type design of this thing. And I've never messed around with any virtual reality devices yet, but for the short time that I had the Moto X while I was waiting to revive my Note 2, they got this little thing where the little bug shows up on the screen, and you turn the screen and you can kind of look around and everything. It was interesting. So, but yeah, cardboard. Probably one of the nobody got a $1,400 Pixel. Nobody got a Nexus Cube.
Yeah.
Nobody got, but they did get a coupon for either the Nexus, the Samsung Watch or the LG Watch. Plus, they're going to get the Moto 360 when it comes out in September. But I thought it was pretty interesting, and this was one of those 20%er projects where Google pays people to take 20% of the time and just, come up with stuff like this.
It was very cool. Mm-hmm. It was very cool. I expect somebody to be 3D printing something very similar, Bruce.
There you go.
Now, Hey,
but I bet you the I/O attendees were a little bit. They wanted a little more hardware giveaways.
I think we'll see the hardware in the fall. I think that's when we're going to see new tablets. We're going to see a new phone, and we'll probably see the replacement for the Nexus 7 and a new watch a new phone and a new tablet to go along with Android L. Yeah. Okay. Hey, I'm moving on, guys. We've been hearing rumors for a while now that that Google's got this program called Android Silver, and basically what that's going to be is HTC, LG, Samsung, they're going to make their devices, but then they're going to make this a pure vanilla Android phone to be sold on Google's Play Store. And a lot of speculation there led to the belief that the Nexus program was going away. Well, I'll tell you what's the truth. This Dave Burke, who's head of engineering at Android, hey, he has said now publicly that just because Google's going to launch Android Silver doesn't mean that the Nexus is going away. So for those of us...
What the heck does it mean, though?
Well, it means that in addition to Google's designed phone and tablets, that there's going to be manufacturer-designed phones and tablets that will still offer Android flavoring without their sense and...
I don't know. It just to me, it's going to be like this is the Android Silver, and here's Android Platinum. That's the old Nexus. It'll be just more specs, but it's really the same thing. It's just not designed by Google. Maybe they probably have a collaboration with different hardware manufacturers that we want this set of specs in for certain things. But you think they're gonna? You think just because he said that the Nexus is not dead, it's still going to be going forward at the fast pace?
I think that's what it means. But I do agree with you, Jeff. I mean, I think Silver is a stupid name for any kind of a program like that. Okay, but yes, I do believe that the Nexus brand, for Google fanboys, Nexus is a brand I recognize. Okay.
Absolutely. Yep. I agree.
Yeah, but I'm in an argumentative mood a little bit. I'm just saying that what is the difference between Google going to a manufacturer and say we want you to make a phone with these specs, because they don't make phones anymore, right? They don't have Motorola anymore, and or they just go, hey, make a phone with these specs. Everyone makes it and we'll call it the silver program, or we'll call it the platinum program, or whatever. I mean, I don't get it. I really don't. And it's just got to take a lot of resources to develop that, right? You know what I'm saying?
I don't agree with that. I don't think it's going to take a lot of resources to develop I mean, these manufacturers they're making phones every day.
Right, but Google's not.
Well, Google never has.
But no, right. But they've worked with the manufacturer saying we want this. We want the speakers on the Nexus 10 to be forward-facing. We want the Pebble background. We want these things. These are the specs we want you to build. I want this. I don't want this plastic. I want it to have a different kind of feel to it. And they have to have engineers that understand all that, right?
Do you think manufacturers are still going to want to really participate with the Nexus? And I mean, I'm sure there's a premium that they when they negotiate. Who's going to build the next Nexus? You know, who built the Nexus 5? Who built the Nexus 4? Are manufacturers still going to be wanting to be the next Nexus person to build this Google-defined phone?
Why? Why don't they? Because they get it anyways if they just take off their wrapper and stick it on the Play Store.
Yeah, but
right?
the Nexus is a brand. By the way, this is what
Nexus.
That's Google.
But if you go to the Play Store, right, you're not gonna see a Nexus watch.
Yeah.
You're right there. You're seeing an LG watch. You're going to see an Asus watch. You're going to see a Samsung watch and a Motorola watch.
Has the Nexus brand? This is just your opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Has the Nexus brand been a good thing for LG or a bad thing for LG?
I think it's been a good thing for LG. I think it's kept them in the game.
Yeah.
Jeff?
I look at I'm right on the Google Play Store again, and I'm looking at the watches. They have not the watches, the devices, Google Play, and they have a Sony Z Ultra, HTC One, Moto G, LG G, HTC One, and Samsung Galaxy S4 as their phones.
What are you saying?
No, I'm saying that they're getting away from the Nexus brand. Because you got the Nexus 5. That's it.
Nexus was what Google wanted for developers, the developer phone. Okay?
Yeah. They wanted pure vanilla, pure the pure Android experience, right?
Right.
Right, and they're going to get that pure Android experience in other manufacturers under their own brand. I don't, maybe I'm not getting it. I'm probably not. Let's move on because I'm not getting it. Because okay. I'm looking at the Nexus phone here for $349, right? And then if I go to devices and look at the other phones, it's not really subsidized so greatly.
Wait. There's no such thing as subsidized. You're buying these things outright, okay?
Yeah, I'm just saying.
On a 2-year contract, you're buying them outright, okay? What looks better to you when you look at all of those phones that are available there? And
the HTC One.
Huh?
The HTC One for $100 off for $399. That looks promising.
There you go. See, that's getting down there around that Nexus pricing.
Nexus.
Exactly. Nexus. Kill me.
Hey guys, I want to touch on this really quick here, if you don't care. Let's talk about the Aereo decision. For anyone that doesn't know, Aereo was using a antenna-like technology to be able to stream local television into your home. They were charging the servers for this. network and cable companies didn't like that they were doing it. And Aereo won several lower court cases, but they were shot down last week by the Supreme Court. And it looks like now that this is just really starting. I think Fox is going after Dish and their Hopper program that was using a similar technology. And there's been a whole lot written and said about this case since it was announced last Wednesday actually. Hey Jeff, jump in, man. Supreme Court right or wrong on this one?
Well, I think I don't know if they're right or wrong because I'm not a lawyer. I am disappointed that they didn't allow this to take place. It's kind of using it. Let me put it this way. Cable is to OTA, right, over the air, as Aero was to cable, right? It's the same. It's just streaming technology. All they did was have antenna farms that you could rent an antenna for a price, and it would get the over-the-air signal, and you would be able to act like a DVR, record it, do whatever you wanted to do. So all those things, and they were just being slick about it. And I thought it was a very interesting way to handle it, because all you're doing is renting an antenna that is getting a signal over the air, right, broadcast, and you're watching over the internet. But they looked at it completely different. They looked at a copyright infringement on cable companies, basically, saying that it was the same similar service. So I wasn't very pleased about it. I was hoping they would do it because the whole idea of putting more choices in consumers' hands makes sense, and they eliminated that. They protected the cable companies.
Bruce, your thoughts?
Yeah, it was discouraging. Again, Twit had a great conversation on it. They have their attorney that does their legal podcast. Her name is Denise. And, so they got into the real depths of all of this. And certainly Aereo found a loophole, and they were exploiting it. And for many of us for a long time who have been wishing we could, if we could get some kind of a carte blanche program from our cable company where instead of paying for a bunch of channels we didn't want, we could come up, they could say, look, you get, here's, and I know they're not going to do this, but let's just say for sake of illustration, here's all our channel offerings, you pick 25 of them, and then this is the price. And I'm sure that it wouldn't be as simple as that. You'd have a category A that are so much per channel, category B, and because the more popular ones would obviously cost more expensive per channel, but where you could get what you want. And so, the cable industry is going the same route as print media is going. They're trying to adjust. They're scrambling, trying to retain as much control as long as they can. There's a lot of lobbying. There's a lot of big money going in this. And, a lot of the little guys, we were, cheering for Aereo because we like to see them stick it to the man and come up with something that's, that gives us, the consumer, a little more freedom in what we want. And so it was disappointing. So, but yeah, it's there are some of the arguments on the other side that they brought up, like Fox now going after Dish and things like that. I think there's a whole lot of shaking going on, and I guarantee you, this industry will not look anything like it looks now in 4 to 5 years for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with both of you, and just let me say this, cable companies, if you were smart, you would hire this Aereo guy. You would hire him and say, I want to buy your technology, and you would offer this to your customers because, listen, if you don't, somebody's going to beat you to it because it's happening. The internet is where all of your media is headed, and you either better figure out a way to do it for us, or you're not going to be getting a payday really soon.
Yeah, but what's the difference between Aereo and Android TV serving up, right, live ABC broadcasting in a licensing agreement. Because if they have a licensing agreement with ABC, then it's okay. But Aereo didn't bother having a licensing agreement. They just used the broadcast signal.
Well,
right?
here's what burns me up, though. Okay, those signals that they were broadcasting still had those blasted commercials in them every 12 minutes. Okay,
of course, yeah.
So the cable companies they're getting theirs. They're getting it paid for. The networks are getting it paid for. Okay. So
well, the networks aren't getting it paid for because they can't tell the number of viewers, right? Well, maybe they can. It's no difference than broadcast. I guess they wouldn't know how many viewers they have. They have to have some kind of Nielsen rating or something like that.
Yeah, and somebody else said, and I agree with this too, the Aereo could have approached the providers and negotiated a transmission fee, and all they had to do then was undercut the cable companies by 20 or 30%, and they could have had a viable business model. You know, that's the other option that I've heard people talking about.
And that might be still available to them, right? Because then it's just a licensing agreement like anything else. But, you know, it's just a shame. They don't want to see these server farms pop up in every major market because it just takes away from the cable companies. You know, and I wanted to see it in every major market. In fact, I wanted to be able to have Aereo here. The New York feed here 3 hours earlier. That would have been great. You know, watch all those shows live 3 hours, you know, in real time.
Be in bed by 7 p.m., right?
Exactly. I could watch it 3 times in a row. Mountains, you know. Keep on waiting for that guy not to fall off that cliff.
All right, man. Hey, gang, who are we anyway? Well, we're a community on Google Plus. Tech and Coffee, and we've been doing a daily hangout for ever since there was hangouts, and we'd love to have you join us, man. Grab you a cup of coffee, your favorite beverage, and let's talk tech. How do you do it? Head over to techandcoffee.info, click on join the hangout, and we're normally in the main room Eastern time from about 8:30 in the morning till on up in the evenings. You can follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Tech and Coffee 1. Our live shows go to YouTube, Tech and Coffee. Search for us on Google Plus and circle us, please. We'll circle you back. Look for that TNC logo. You can also catch this and our other podcast on Stitcher Radio and iTunes. Questions, comments, and snide remarks, AJ at techandcoffee.info. Hey, guys, let's talk about our apps for this week. Bruce, why don't you kick us off, man?
Okay. All right. I was trying to think about an app, you know, and for those people that don't know, and I know you guys know, I took an over-the-air update from AT&T for my Samsung Galaxy Note 2. I was going from 4.3 to 4.4.2 KitKat, and I was all excited about it, only it bricked my phone. And so for a couple of days, I was just, you know, without my Note 2. I went down to AT&T, I got a loaner for a little while, and was finally able to get it back up there. So I don't have all my apps, so I was trying to figure out an app. And the best I could come up with right now actually is, and this can be fun. Sometimes when you're sitting around and you just want to do some things like play some funny sounds. So this particular app that I got is called Sound Effects and Ringtones. It's a free app, but it's got some funny different little sounds on it. So it's got like this or applause, and you got a baby sneeze. Listen to this. Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me. But it's got a can opener, and then you can clear your throat. That's almost as good as this right here. Let me see. Let me go back over here. It's almost as good as this.
Nexus.
But anyway, but it's got all kinds of things, like when you're going to the dentist and you're sitting in the waiting room of the dentist's office and you do this on your phone. could have a lot of fun with that. So you got grandkids, you know, they'll enjoy this. This is the sound effects and ringtones app. You can get it for free on the Google Play Store. There you go. Isn't that inspiring?
I like it, and there are kids that have like little Nexus 7s and stuff that they can download it on, right?
Yeah.
So.
And there are kids like me.
Nexus.
Yeah. Nexus.
All right, Jeff.
Oh, am I up? Well, let's see if and by the way, and just so you guys know, I did get 4.4.4 on my tablet. It was downloading during the show, and looks like everything's up and running. I hope. Let's see. Tech and coffee is a love-hate relationship. The love is everybody you meet. The hate is you end up buying all this little stuff. So I bought. Well, I reached back here for $20 on Amazon. Yeah, exactly. Look at Bruce. Same thing. $20. This little guitar amp, this little portable amp. It's 9 volt, and it works really well. But oops, I should put it in the thing. So then, of course, I had to get a little Bluetooth dongle to plug into here, so I can use it as my remote speakers and things like that. And then I noticed there was a problem with my Nexus 10, and it was a known problem. Through the headphone line in going out, the volume wasn't as loud, so Bluetooth was definitely louder. So I ended up looking for an app to kind of help out, and I got this music equalizer. Let's see if this comes up. Of course it's not coming up. Isn't that great? Have I lost my... I have lost... No, I haven't lost it. There we go. All right. Yay. So let's go back to... this is the app. Yeah, of course you have to go back to do all this stuff. Hold on a second. Since it's free, you get all these ads. But this is the little icon music equalizer. And basically, what you can do, you can have your own effects. You can set your own equalizer. And what I liked about this was it had a volume booster on it, so it would increase the volume coming out of your device. And it looks like it had a little virtualizer like reverb effect, and then it had different presets for different types of, but it is ad driven obviously. So jazz, folks, hip hop, and then you set your own. But it worked really, really well. I mean, you could dramatically tell the difference between just playing music on from the Play Store or playing it through this. It made a real difference. Although it doesn't look like it makes a real difference, it really does. So I use it all the time now. I'm sure there's other music equalizers out there, but this one had both the volume and you can set up the normal presets that you just click for jazz or whatever you wanted to do, and it worked out really, really well. So this combination, $20, super loud, with a dongle, which was like another $20. You have your Bluetooth speaker that is amazingly loud, way better than the other ones, because I have this little Jensen one.
Very good. And what was the name of that app again, Jeff?
Music Equalizer.
Okay, very good, very good. All right. So,
free, ad-driven though, like everything else.
Right, before I cover my app, and believe me, I'm not going to do a very good job of covering this because there's a whole lot to it. But I'm just going to say, as long as I've been messing with Android products, loved to root them. And, the last time I bought a phone, I hesitated to root it because normally I was rooting for specific reasons. And, root might allow me to accomplish what I needed to do, but something would always go haywire in the process. Bluetooth wouldn't work like it was supposed to. Wi-Fi might be funky. GPS signal would come and go. A lot of times, there was some consequences to rooting. But I've kind of gotten back into it. The dark side was calling, man, and I've rooted 2 devices here just in the last week. My Nexus 5 and my Nexus 7. A friend told me about exposed framework, and the premise behind exposed is this. Now you do have to be rooted to use exposed, but basically what exposed is you're just adding little modules, and I'll show you a little bit more about those modules. But let me say this: yes, you have to be rooted. And this is not for the faint of heart. A lot of these modules are alpha releases, and they could brick your phone. And you need to be aware of that. You need to have backups in place. Don't take the chance. But anyway, so what does exposed module repository, what does it do? Well, tell you what, let's just do it this way. Let's go over here to my phone, and I'll just show you here what it looks like against my phone. Getting over here to the exposed installer, and let me just say, normally when you do it, you're going to come up to, if you were launching for the first time, this is what you would get. So it's a little warning, and you would install or update the framework. You have to have the framework installed to use the module. Okay, one of the modules that I installed, well, first of all, let's just go to download. You can see here I've got installer, I've got something called Gravity Box here. I'll show you more about that. But a lot of these modules might be very, very specific to your device. For example, this is if you've got an Xperia Z1 running 4.3, this will give you access to the 20 megapixel Superior Auto. Okay, 3-dot menu mod, 4.0 TV, fixed suggestions toggle, GPS notification, bring back the GPS icon. All kinds of modules here, and since the L release, there's been all kinds of modules added. Now, I am going to show you Gravity Box, the one that I have installed, and I've been playing with it. You got lock screen tweaks, status bar tweaks, navigation bar tweaks, PI controls, power tweaks, display tweaks, phone tweaks, media tweaks, launcher tweaks, and on. Okay? It's very cool. One thing that this did give me, Nexus 5 owners, if you're familiar with what the settings menu looks like, you can see now mine is a whole lot bigger than yours is. There's a whole lot more to it here. This is exposed module repository. It's a pretty cool little device for tweaking. You can see right here it's added. I've got a link to my Gravity Box. You can turn NFC on and off, all from this menu. You can turn your ringer off, access your camera. There's all kinds of stuff. Oh, look here, torch off and torch on. Oh, I love it. I feel like I'm on the Fantastic Four. Torch off, torch on. Yeah, baby. Hey, exposed module repository, guys.
So, do you believe, like, can you have certain apps, like, not, say if you were using MyTracks or something like that, not have that dim or stay on, so it doesn't go into power save mode or anything like that, and then go to a lock screen? Would you be able to have, like, rule-based
Yes, you've got
power options?
Set up different notifications for different apps, different actions and gestures for single apps. It's really amazing just how finite you can get down with exposed module repository. Listen, guys, to get it, you need to head on over to xdadevelopers.com. You can install all of this from your phone should you choose to. Just be aware of the risks. Okay. Hey guys, we got anything else this week?
Well, Bruce hit upon the Google Talk plugin kind of going away. That's major for a lot of people, a lot of power users out there to use the Hangout. So that's rather big. And also, we had in the show notes about the Quick Office being X'd out.
Yeah, Quick Office is going away. Why, you ask? Well, because hey, Google Docs does everything Quick Office used to, including being able to read Microsoft Office documents. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, and also, wasn't it also going to be able to work offline at one point?
Docs work offline.
But in like the Microsoft natively, all that, right? I mean, as well.
Well, you've asked me something I'm not real sure about, Jeff. I'll tell you what's the truth. That's your homework assignment. You need to report back next week as to whether or not they can do that. All right?
Sure. I'm never going to ask another question again. I hate homework.
Yeah, and I do want to make a plug, since it was sitting here on my desk, for the Aqua Audio Shower Bluetooth speaker. You see, it's beautiful. It even has a microphone built in it, so you could answer a phone call while you're taking a shower. But I've been using it every morning to listen to music, and it's really, really good. So.
Hey, gang. Come on over to techandcoffee.info. Click on main hangout. Join us. Let's hang out. And see you in 7, guys. Peace out, everybody.
Nexus.
Nexus.
Next.